You know the classic setup, right? The schemer versus the simpleton. It's cunning ambition going up against honest-to-goodness hard work. It's a story we've heard a million times, but here's the real question. Who actually wins in the end? Well, we're about to find out by looking at a couple of fables from this one small village that might just hold the answer.
And this right here, this really gets to the heart of it all. At what point does a clever plan just become, well, self-destructive? And how does simple, honest work sometimes manage to come out on top against the most complicated schemes? Let's just keep that question in mind as we meet the two guys at the center of our story.
All right, let's dive in. We find ourselves in a little village called Jaunpur, and we're zeroing in on two men who are on completely different life paths. First up, we've got Mitha, our resident schemer. And on the other side, there's Bittu, the simple, hardworking guy. Their choices, believe me, are going to tell us everything we need to know.
I mean, you can see the difference right away, can't you? It's like night and day. Mitha is that guy who's always looking for a shortcut, a way to get rich without ever breaking a sweat. Bittu, he's the total opposite. He truly believes in the value of hard work, even when it's not really getting him anywhere. He's honest, maybe a little too honest, and that naivete is something Mitha is absolutely counting on.
And look, if you needed any more proof of Mitha's whole deal, here it is, straight from the source. This is what he says when his wife is literally begging him to find a job. He's just not interested in earning a living. He wants to get by with zero effort. Now let's see how that stacks up against Bittu's attitude.
And then you have Bittu. He's also talking to his wife, but his problem couldn't be more different. He's working his tail off, and he's still struggling. See, he's not looking for a handout or a shortcut. He just wants his hard work to mean something. You can just feel that genuine struggle, right? That desire to actually do something.
Okay, so we know our players. Now it's time to put them to the test. A pretty wild opportunity pops up, one that promises unbelievable wealth. This is the moment where we're going to see what they are really, truly made of.
So, Bittu's story kicks off with a real sacrifice. His wife sells her own earrings just so he can afford this cow. A cow that, by the way, nobody else even wanted. And then something amazing happens. The cow starts producing what looks like golden milk. But just as his luck is finally turning, he's being watched. You guessed it, Mitha, the opportunist, sees his big chance.
And here we go. This is where the scheming starts. Mitha doesn't even think about earning his own fortune. He decides he's just going to steal Bittu's. He strolls up to the naive Bittu with some so-called friendly advice, making up this whole story about special golden fodder that will make the cow even more magical. And because Bittu is so trusting, he hands over the cow. Just like that, Mitha's plan is in motion.
Now, let's jump to our second story. The problem is different this time. A seriously brutal winter hits the village, but the test of character, it's exactly the same. The village chief announces a contest with a huge reward for whoever comes up with the best way to keep everyone warm.
And the prize is a big one. We're talking 100,000 rupees. For either Mitha or Bittu, that is an absolutely life-changing amount of money. This is the ultimate motivation, and you can bet how each of them goes after it is going to reveal everything.
And wow, their solutions could not be more different. Mitha, of course, goes for something flashy, a modern, high-tech electric heater. But he immediately slaps a mandatory heater tax on it. His focus is 100% profit. Bittu's approach is much, much simpler, a basic wood fire. He doesn't charge a single rupee, he just offers up a warm place for people to gather. His focus? It's all about community.
So, you have these two paths, and you just know they're heading to very different destinations. Now we get to the part where it all comes to a head, where their plans and their true characters are put to the ultimate test. Let's watch it all unfold.
Mitha's whole golden milk scheme just collapses, and it happens fast. He opens his shop, making all these grand promises of health and beauty. But the reality is, not so great. The villagers who drink the milk start getting terrible stomach aches. And then Bittu, who actually did his homework, reveals the truth. The cow wasn't magical, it was just sick, and that's why the milk was discolored. The lie is out, and the consequences for Mitha are swift and they are severe.
And in our second story, Mitha's greed backfires just as spectacularly. The second he demands that heater tax, his customers just turn around and walk out. I guess they'd rather be cold than get ripped off. His laser focus on short-term profit leaves him with absolutely nothing. No customers, no money, and a shop that's just as cold and empty as his business plan.
Meanwhile, over at Bittu's place, things are starting a little slow. His wood is damp, so it takes a while to get the fire going, but he sticks with it, and once it does, his shop becomes this cozy little haven.
Villagers just flock to the simple warmth he's offering for free. He even shows some extra kindness, giving a cup of tea to a poor old Nan. And this is the scene the village chief walks in on. Not really a business, but a genuine community.
So, after all the scheming and all the simple, honest work, where do our two villagers end up? Well, it's time for the final reckoning. This is the ultimate judgment on the paths they chose to walk.
The final scorecard really says it all, doesn't it? In the Golden Cow story, Mitha gets beaten and arrested. Bitu's name is cleared. In the Winter Challenge, Mitha loses the reward and ends up totally alone, while Bitu's simple kindness earns him the entire prize. The results are just undeniable.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Both of these stories are pointing to the exact same powerful truth. Any scheme built on greed and lies is pretty much doomed to fail. Real, lasting success, the kind that brings you not just money but also respect, that comes from honesty, from patience, and from simple kindness.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. These old fables, they offer a really clear moral compass. But in our world today, a world that so often seems to celebrate the quick win and the disruptive shortcut, how do we hold on to the value of that slow, steady path of integrity? It's a question these simple stories from a tiny village make surprisingly relevant for all of us.